Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Lynette. Today we're going to talk about how some people don't give you a choice. And by that, I mean a choice to make the right decision, a choice to make your own decision. You either go their way or not at all. In so being, I'm going to jump right to the front and say, if you go along with someone just to please them, just because you don't want to lose them or whatever the situation is, then you're letting yourself down. So in short, you need to respond and do what you know is right, no matter how tempting something is, no matter how good it looks, no matter your concern about losing the person who's presenting this to you. You have to do the right thing. And I'm going to tell you a little example of that. And this happened in my own family where I felt somebody was doing something really wrong. And other family members that I loved apparently did not feel that way. And so it was either go along with them and keep peace or stand true to what I thought was right. And I'm not saying I wanted to make peace more difficult, but I simply wanted to honor what I felt was right. So in doing that, yes, things got uneasy, but at least I felt like I stuck to my integrity. I felt like it gave me more self-love, because in the future, if you go along with others just simply to make them happy, to please them, the test will come up again. And pretty soon, time after time, you're not going to feel good about yourself because you're going against your own morality, your own true nature. In other words, you're letting yourself down. And you're putting those people ahead of yourself. I'll give you another example. It was real interesting. And what brought it to mind is this new Michael Jackson movie coming out. And a friend of mine said, "Oh, I'm not interested in it because he blah, blah, blah." Now, this is one of those things where everybody can have their own opinion. Personally, I never thought he was guilty of the character assassination that was going on with him. To me, he was someone who gave up his entire life to entertain us, and then based on hearsay or character assassination, the very people that he gave up his life for seem to have turned on him. And I'm going to give you a little trivia about him that I don't think a lot of people know. Many years ago, the first mass shooting at a school in U.S. history happened to be at an elementary school near where I live. And it was a horrible day. A lot of chaos, a lot of confusion. And it wasn't probably 3 days later, I heard a lot of helicopters again. And I thought, oh no, now what happened? Well, as it turns out, and there wasn't any media coverage on this until after the event, but Michael Jackson came to the school here to entertain the children and the staff because they've had such a traumatic experience. And it wasn't a lot of hoopla. In fact, I don't even know if anybody knew he was coming. Probably the principal did. And I, for one, really appreciated it. Back to what we were talking about, and that is when people put you in a position to make a decision where there is no good choice. I mean, you're in a position where you go along with them, and that's the only way it's going to keep peace. Or you go with what you feel is right, and then you risk the consequences of the people you want to satisfy. But I'm here to tell you, in the long run, you are the only one you need to satisfy to have true peace and happiness. in your life, you need to follow those golden rules like the 10 Commandments, or do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Very basic rules to a peaceful, happy life that is overlooked so many times. And I believe if we all followed them, what a wonderful place this would be. And it's not that hard. I mean, there's 10 of them. You would think it would be a no-brainer for everybody to live by it. But unfortunately, other things have come into our lives that kind of go against this golden rule. However, it's never too late for all of us to respond. And, they say those who live in glass houses, whatever. I know I haven't been a model person my entire life, and it's just part of living. The big picture is, and what we need to remember, is we have to be, for one, true to God. Really stop and think when you're making a decision, when you're doing something, what would God want you to do? And the second is, you've got to be true to yourself. You are the only one that you need to answer to. To have self-love, which is a very important part of happiness. To truly honor yourself and your decisions in life. People will come and go. Situations will come and go. Maybe at a specific period in time, we feel like it's so important to have this relationship, regardless of what it is, friendship, romance, whatever. And then in like a year's time, it's like you're thinking, wow, dodge that bullet. And it's so funny how at one moment something will seem so important to us, and the next moment it's not. So a rule of thumb that we should all live by and all teach our kids is that very basic rule: treat others how you want to be treated. Be true to yourself, love yourself, honor God, do what you think He would want you to do, and do what makes you feel good about you. I know this is a very juvenile comparison, but in a sense, it kind of starts in school. When you have a group of friends, and we'll take the bullies, for example. So you might have made friends with a group of bullies, but in your heart of hearts, you don't really want to be that type of person, but you're afraid of being ousted from that group. So I think if we can conquer that, it would make everybody's school experience so much better. But I think it comes from us teaching our children, and those children will grow up and have children. And that's how things develop. It's just a ripple effect. Everything is a ripple effect, good, bad, or indifferent. And we'll go back to the school shooting. It happened. Here was the first. And now I don't even know how many have taken place since then. So good or bad, there is a ripple effect. So it's up to us to be the example of good, of trust, of making a decision that is pleasing to you, not pleasing to somebody else, to doing what you know is right, what you believe is right, what you think is right. The thing you never want to do in life is sell yourself out, because eventually one day will come when you have to look back on a decision you made and why you made it. You can still stand firm in who you are and making the right choices into what you believe to be the right choice, and still love the opposing person, the person who wants you to agree with them. You can continue to love who you love and just realize that we don't see things exactly the way that they think we should. And this has never been more apparent to me. Started with COVID, and now it's political, and I'm not a political person, but it's shoved in your face every day of the year. So if anything rang true about we all see things differently, It started with COVID and rolled over into politics. And now I can see so clearly how differently we all think. And it would be so confusing to try to make your thoughts like someone else's, because we only get bits and pieces of what a person is thinking. We don't know what's going on in their lives, what's really going on. Like when you don't hear from someone, you think, oh my gosh, are they mad at me, blah, blah, blah. Well, it can be anything that's happened in their life. They may have been ill, who knows? The same goes for other people with you. They don't know what's going on in your life, what has made you to be the person that you are, the person that you want to be. As I've mentioned before, and as I've mentioned episode after episode, your morality is taking care of yourself, putting yourself first. And that's not selfish. That is not selfish at all, because you need to develop a strong foundation of who you are, and then you can be there confidently and strongly for somebody else. I always use a metaphor of a cup. If you give away everything that's in your cup, pretty soon you have nothing left to give. And the people who are coming to you for whatever, even if it's advice, are going to have to turn to somebody else, or will turn to somebody else. In other words, if your cup is full and it starts to overflow, then you can give away the overflow. But you need to keep what's in your cup for yourself. You need to remain strong so you can be a role model, a mentor, an example for somebody who stands up for what's right. Human kindness. It takes nothing to make somebody else feel good. You live day by day and you think about that example, and you have to think, did I make somebody feel good today? Did I say something that made someone happy? And I think we need to really address that. And it kind of goes hand in hand with our decision making. Basically, it's all rolled into God, loving yourself, being the best version of yourself, making decisions on being the best version of yourself, and being a kind person. Remember, you will know a man by his works. So let your works always speak louder. Let them always go ahead of you. And there will still be character assassination. I'm not saying that makes everything wonderful. As the experience that I mentioned earlier in this podcast, even though people have known me all my life, did character assassination. It's funny how people will jump on the bandwagon. I don't know, for popularity, for parties, for greed. I'm not sure what it is, but unfortunately, people take a side because of their own fleshly desires, not of the truth, which I think we all know the truth deep within ourselves. So if somebody wants to follow that, if they're loved ones, you can still love them. But just know, and I made a podcast entitled Know What They're Capable of. And that is so true. There's people I love that have put me in awkward situations, and I still love them. So it shouldn't surprise you when somebody repeats a certain behavior, because you knew what they were capable of. But most importantly, when we're talking about you'll know a man by his works, remember God knows us by our works. But not only that, doing the right thing brings not only self-trust, but self-love, because you can count on yourself. And you know your reasons for making certain decisions or doing certain things is because you felt it was the right thing. You honored it instead of letting it consume you for the wrong reasons. I have a friend who always tells me little quotes that are humorous, but they do make a lot of sense. And she told me one about a woman that saw the snake, and the snake was very friendly. And she brought it home with her, and they were friends for a while. And one day the snake bit her, and she said, "Why did you bite me?" And the snake said, "You knew I was a snake when you brought me home." So, with that being said, know what everyone's capable of, but the only person you need to be concerned with is you, that you're making the right decisions, that you're making the right choices, that you're being the best person that you can be. Thank you, and God bless you. I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.